Hello. I've been having some real internet problems. Excuses. But I had a thought on my way out of the corner shop on my quest for some oat milk that made me think about something that it's a thing that pops into my mind fairly often, but I never know what to do with it. And the start of this is that I wandered around the corner shop, I picked up my oat milk, I perused the chocolate zone, decided none of it was appealing to me. Went up to the man behind the counter, handed him my oat milk. He said, "Do you want anything else?" And instead of going in my normal voice, "No thanks," I went, "No thanks." And then on my way out, I said, "Thank you." What's that voice? Who's that? Who is she? She ain't me. And I just think about it a lot because I worked in a customer service kind of job where I would chat to a lot of people all day, and the number of women I think were not using their real voice with me I found really interesting, particularly in comparison to men who I generally would say are always using their natural voice. And I would do it a lot. When I first started there, I'd really be like, "Hello, how can I help? This is my voice." And it actually led to me really hurting my voice, and it's like a really tense way of holding my voice that I don't think was the cause, but certainly didn't help the problems I have had with my voice, specifically being able to sing like I used to be able to sing. And I also think about this a lot in relation to the metaphor of being silenced, or I suppose you can be literally silenced, but I suppose the metaphor of your voice being taken away. Your voice is taken away metaphorically when you aren't able to get your message out and speak publicly. But physically, you do have a voice. You do physically have a body that can produce sound. And I think about how I was assaulted and I was strangled, and that can literally, like very, very literally, prevent you from making noise. And how when I spoke to people about it, and this is friends who I thought would understand me, every excuse in the book was given to that guy. And I think about how alone and voiceless it made me feel. And I think about how I rang up a crisis line and they were genuinely really helpful. And it was just one phone call, and it was maybe 10 minutes out of my day. And, you know, I was one of hundreds of women that lady must have spoken to that week. But it really helped. It really helped having someone listen. And I've been also listening to a lot of podcasts where various academics are talking about being silenced. One of them said something that I suppose hadn't occurred to me or hadn't been stated in quite this way. Because she said that there's a lot of talk about us, as in the women on this panel. There's a lot of talk about us being silenced. And that's ridiculous to say in some ways, because I'm here, I'm talking to you, people can hear me, people can listen, this is being put online, it's easily accessible. I'm not silenced. There might not be many people willing to listen, but she's not being silenced. But the women who are silenced are the women who are in more junior positions in universities or like any kind of academic institution, who can't put forward the research proposals they want to propose because of the backlash they'll receive, or they can't speak up about how they feel about policies being brought in because they'll lose their jobs. And that's what silencing is. That's where you can't even feel emboldened enough to make the sound. And I also think about how I'm really wanting to make art about difficult things that are intimately related to being a woman. And if I'm to use the politically correct parlance, about womanhood in terms of the gender hierarchy and the stereotypes and what's put on us as women in this world, which obviously many people would say does apply to men that wish to be women as well. but it also relates intimately to my female body, or any female body, I suppose. I suppose that's the point, that I want it to be something that other women can relate to. So it's both of those things. And I'm scared to put it out there, or I'm scared to be bolder with it. I feel that I'm sometimes hiding things under metaphors to get more people to listen to it. And sometimes that's good. Sometimes maybe that works, because I think even if there wasn't this issue with not being able to be totally explicit about the female body, women wouldn't want to hear it anyway. Like, you know, the number of women that are complicit in our oppression. If I came out and said exactly how I think, they wouldn't get on board anyway. So it's much of a muchness, I guess. Anyway, all of that to say, I put in a proposal to do a project that would be about upskilling women in the arts, particularly in like the tech side of theatre, because there just aren't enough women doing it. And I'm like worried I'll get questioned on it somehow. And I sort of don't know how to say, this is important to me and this is what I want to talk about. And again, even if I try and like use all the right language, because I could so easily go out there and make a project about some obscure bit of English folklore, and I don't think I'd be accused of being racist. Maybe some people would, fair, but my point would be, I'm talking about something that's about me and my life and my culture, and I want other people to see it, and I think that shows about all cultures should exist. You know, I've seen shows that are men talking about their issues in the world as men, and I mean, some of them are shit, but some of them have been genuinely great. So it's that thing of you. But I feel like if I go, I'm not trying to say anything about trans women in this, I'm just talking about my experiences being female, I'll get some accusations. So I'm both really hoping I get this proposal, or I'm really hoping I get this funding, but I'm also really scared, if I do, how to assert myself against accusations that may come my way. And the fact that even if that never comes, because what I'm doing will be fairly small and like not that many people will see it probably, if it all goes off without a hitch, I don't think huge numbers of people are going to see it, which is fine. But I'm being, in a weird way, silenced by the culture that exists at the moment in the arts, that I feel like I can't express myself freely. Yeah, and I'm finding that really odd to think about and to work out what I want to do about it. All that is to say, this is a long and very winding way of me saying you should read a book called Freeing the Natural Voice, which is just like a vocal technique book, but it's great. It's all about, being like really loud and having a really powerful voice without pushing it and without hurting yourself, and just having a really strong voice. And that, yes, I think that a lot of women have lower toned voices than they realise, because they speak up here all the time in kind of a customer service voice. But you need to be using your real voice. Use your voice. Use your whole real voice. But it's hard to. And isn't that rubbish? Also, I'm not saying that a culture of like weird silencing is the same as like being assaulted. Although weirdly, I suppose it's on a continuum of male threat, isn't it? Anyway, I'm very tired and I'm sorry this isn't as put together as it could be. But I love you all, and I hope I'll be able to dedicate more time to this soon. I keep saying that, and then I do for a bit, and then something comes up and I don't. But I love you. Bye.